Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making custard donuts. I'm super excited for this recipe. It's one of my favorites. So let's just jump right into it. Alright guys, so here are all the ingredients that we will need for our recipe today. So first off, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Then we will need 1 to 2 cups of granulated sugar. Next we will need 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we will need 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is not a normal ingredient in donuts, but it will help the texture of the custard a little bit more firm so it doesn't like ooze out of the donut when you bite into it. And then we will need 3 tablespoons of butter. And then we move over to our dry ingredients. So in a separate bowl, we'll add our flour, our sugar, salt, and cornstarch. We're just going to mix this all together with a whisk. Next, we're going to go ahead and get our wet ingredients together. So I have my milk, my egg yolk, and then my vanilla extract. So we're going to go ahead and mix this all together in a separate bowl. So next, what we want to do is slowly pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients while continuously mixing. So just like this. And then once it's all incorporated, we can turn this out onto a lightly floured surface. So I've got some flour right here on my mat. And then we're just going to start kneading this dough. So about 2 to 3 minutes. And then once it's smooth, we're going to roll it out into a sheet. Okay, so I rolled my dough out, and now I'm going to cut my circle. So each circle should be about 2 inches wide, and then I'm going to roll those suckers out again because we want them nice and thin. So I'm rolling these babies out and just trying to get them as thin as possible. The thinner, the better. You're going to see why later. So then I'm just going to set these to the side. I'm going to repeat the process until all my dough is gone. Okay, so I have all my circles cut out. I'm going to go ahead and get the oil heated up in the deep fryer, or you can use a pot. And then I'm going to roll these suckers out one by one. Once they're done rolling, I'm just going to set them to the side. I'm going to repeat the process until all my donuts are done. And you can see I got a nice golden brown color. So these things are ready to be fried. Okay, so I've got my donuts in the hot oil and I'm frying them off in batches. And just make sure to flip them so both sides get nice and brown. And then once they're done cooking, I'm just going to throw them into the strainer right here to drain off any excess grease. Okay, so I have all my donuts cooking. I'm going to go ahead and throw them into the cooling rack. And I'm going to get started on the custard filling. So for the custard filling, we will need 1 1/8 or 2 tablespoons of butter. Next, we will need 1 to 3 cups of granulated sugar. Next, we will need 1.4 cups of all-purpose flour. Then we will need 1 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Next, we will need 1 4 cups of whole milk. And then lastly, we will need 3 large egg yolks. And then in a medium saucepan, add butter, sugar, and flour. And we're just going to mix this all together. Next, we're going to slowly incorporate the milk while continuously whisking. So just like this. And then once the milk is fully incorporated, we can go ahead and bring this to a boil over medium heat. And then once it starts boiling, we're going to reduce the heat to low, and then we're going to start incorporating the egg yolks one at a time. Okay, so I've got the egg yolk incorporated, and now I'm just going to continue to fry this on low heat until it thickens. Okay, so I've got my custard thickening, and I just want to show you guys the consistency that we're looking for. So if it looks like this, you're good to go. Once it passes the ribbon stage, which basically you can see right here, if I draw a line through the custard, it doesn't come back together. That means it's thickened enough. And then once it's thickened, we're going to go ahead and remove it from the heat, and then we're going to stir in our vanilla extract, and then we're just going to set this to the side to cool down a little bit. Okay, so I've got my custard cooled down. I'm going to go ahead and transfer it into a piping bag fitted with a large round tip. Okay, so I've got my piping bag fitted with the large round tip, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it with the custard. Now, it's really important that you use a large tip because the hole inside the donut is pretty big. So you don't want to use like a small tip. Trust me, it'll be a pain in the butt. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and pipe the custard into the donuts. Now, if you want to be fancy, you can pipe little designs. But I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I'm just going to pipe it in a mound and then flatten it out so it's easier to work with. And then we're going to go ahead and put the top on the donut. So we're going to take some of the leftover dough. We're going to roll it out into a sheet. And then we're going to cut out another circle. And then we're going to roll that sucker out again so it fits perfectly on the donut. And then we're going to press down just to seal the edges. And then we're going to go ahead and roll these suckers out one by one. And just make sure to roll them out evenly so they're even thickness. And then we're going to go ahead and roll them out again just to get that nice and smooth finish. Okay, so I've got all my donuts rolled out. I'm going to go ahead and get the oil heated up in the deep fryer, or you can use a pot. And then I'm going to go ahead and fry these off in batches. And just make sure to flip them so both sides get a nice golden brown color. And then once they're done cooking, I'm just going to throw them into the strainer right here to drain off any excess grease. Okay, so I have all my donuts cooked. I'm going to go ahead and throw them into the cooling rack. I'm going to go ahead and get the glaze mixed up. And the glaze that we're going to be using today is a vanilla glaze. So to make the vanilla glaze, we will need 1 cup of powdered sugar. Next, we will need 1 tablespoon of milk. Then we will need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I have all my ingredients measured out. I'm just going to go ahead and mix this all together until it's smooth and there's no lumps. Okay, so I've got my glaze all mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and dip the donuts in it. Now, it's really important that you dip the entire donut in the glaze because you want the top and the bottom to stick. So after I dip it in the glaze, I'm going to go ahead and tap it on the counter just to get rid of any excess glaze. And then once I'm happy with how the glaze looks, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the cooling rack and just make sure to work quick because the glaze will start to harden as it sits out. And then once I'm happy with all my donuts, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle them with the sprinkles. And look at these beauties, y'all. They came out so damn good. And here's what they look like after they've been sitting out for a few hours. They're still soft, chewy, and delicious. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.